In this class, we will look at some of the basics of photography and which gear to use. Photography is a very important part of running a creative business as we need to be able to share our creations with our audience. I know that photography can be quite a struggle if taking photos doesn't come naturally, so I want to help by giving you some basic guidelines for photography gear and options for which lighting you can use. These guidelines can not only be applied to photography, but also to filming. Let's start by looking at different options for cameras. These days, mobile cameras are very high quality, so it doesn't really matter if you use your mobile camera or a DSLR. I have both, and I use them both for different reasons. I use my DSLR if I want to film or photograph from above, or if I want to use a sturdy tripod. And I also use my DSLR if I want to create a nice bokeh effect. That's when you have your subject in focus and a blurry background. I use my mobile phone most often because it is the easiest to use and I always have it handy. I use it when I want to take a quick photo of my work in progress or take a video time lapse of my work, and I also use it to film my courses. For filming my desk or taking overhead photos like flat lays, I like to use a tripod. Depending on which camera I am using, I have different options to choose from. If I'm filming or photographing with my DSLR camera, I use my tripod. I have a tripod with an adjustable middle rod so I can turn it upside down and then film overhead. A ring light is also a great alternative to a tripod. Some ring lights like mine even have the option to mount a mobile and a DSLR. The only downside to using my ring light as a tripod is that I can only use it when filming myself, but not when I want to film my desktop from above, as it doesn't reach far enough across my desk. This leads me to another option, which is this flexible mobile holder. I use this when I want to use my mobile phone to take an overhead photo of my work in progress, or if I want to film my work from above. This mobile holder is very versatile as you can easily clamp it to your desk or your chair. I have one that is sturdy at the bottom and flexible at the top so you can adjust the angle or the height. And you can film both vertically and horizontally with it. Now let's take a look at lighting. The very most important ingredient when it comes to photography is lighting. I always say that this is even more important than the camera you are using or the number of megapixels your mobile camera has. So what lighting is best? Natural light or artificial light? I absolutely love using natural light and I try to use it as much as possible, but I live in the Netherlands where it rains all the time. Okay, maybe not all the time, but a lot. So I definitely need a little help from artificial lighting. Here are some of my tips for different types of lighting. So first of all, we've got natural light. This is my all-time favorite, and I'm always on the lookout for the perfect lighting throughout my home. I always set my desk near a window so I can use as much natural light as possible. And when the sun is bright, I like to use sheer curtains so it diffuses the harsh sunlight and creates some pretty shadows as well. Next, we've got a ring light. This is the most compact and easy way to give your workspace an extra boost of light. It is also my favorite option for filming myself as I can use the ring light as lighting and also as a tripod for my camera. I would advise to get a larger ring light of at least 14-inch. The bigger the light, the more light it will give. I'd also suggest getting a ring light that has an adjustable light so you can not only change the intensity or the amount of light, but also the hue so you can make the light more yellow or blue depending on which you prefer. Soft boxes are another great option for artificial lighting. I used to have these in the past and I have found that these give a nice, soft, evenly spread out lighting, which is great for workspaces. The only downside to soft boxes is that they can be very large and clunky if you have a small studio. And I like to be able to play with shadows and the intensity of light, and I found this light to be a bit flat for the type of photos I like to take. Now, if you do not have any artificial lighting, you could also use a reflector. You can buy one, but I like to use what I have, like a large white canvas or a large piece of styrofoam I kept from some packaging. Another great tip is to wear a white t-shirt, so it will naturally reflect the white light onto your workspace. Also, keep in mind that when wearing clothes like red or green, it may cast a red or green hue onto your workspace. So, my tip is to always wear white when filming or photographing your workspace. The background of your photo is also very important. I like to use a neutral white background, so I will usually use my desktop, but I also have some squares of thin plywood which I painted in different colors and textures, so if I want to have a different background, I can easily use that. Or if I want to photograph downstairs or outside, I can easily use those as a background as well. When creating a photo, I like to add small props that tell a bit about the artwork. A great suggestion is to have a box where you can collect these props so you can easily grab them when you want to take a photo. This could be items like tags and clips, or botanical elements like dried leaves, flowers, or plants. And I also like to add materials that I use to create the artwork, like brushes or paint. As you could see, there are very many different options for lighting and gear. So depending on the weather and what I want to photograph or film, I will choose which gear I will use. If it's bright out, I will use natural light only. If it's sunny, I will use sheer curtain and play around with the shadows. And if it's gloomy, rainy outside, I'll use my ring light for some extra light. A basic setup for me would be natural light from the left and then a ring light from the right to give my workspace an extra boost of light. So now that I showed you these basic guidelines for your photography gear and lighting, it is time to practice. This is the only way you will get better. A good motivation is to take one photo a day for Instagram. Don't overthink it though, and don't spend too much time on it, but instead take the best photo you can, and in time you will get better.